Ancient humans walked so much that their leg bones were denser than professional athletes. Today, and yet, they never once stepped foot in a gym. Here's what nobody tells you about your body. It wasn't designed for the life you're living. It was designed for a life of constant, relentless movement. Foraging, hunting, migrating, surviving, and somewhere between the invention of the chair and the rise of the desk job, we broke a deal our bodies never agreed to break. Today we're going head to head. Ancient human movement versus yours. Across 5 rounds covering distance, bone density, posture, foot mechanics, and the one round at the end that's going to make you genuinely reconsider your commute. How far did you walk today? Be honest. Now imagine that number is the reason your back hurts. Hunter-gatherers covered between 9 and 15 kilometers every single day. Not as exercise, but as survival. There was no destination that was optional. No food appeared without movement. Anthropologists studying modern hunter-gatherer tribes, like the Hadza in Tanzania, found that even today, their members average around 11,000 to 14,000 steps daily. Not because they're trying to hit a goal on a smartwatch, but because stopping means starving. Now flip to your life. The average modern adult in a developed country walks fewer than 4,000 steps a day. Office workers regularly clock under 3,000. The American Heart Association recommends 10,000 steps as a baseline for basic health. And most people treat that number like an extreme athletic achievement. Here's the gut punch. We didn't evolve to rest. We evolved to move constantly and rest occasionally. We've flipped that entirely. We rest constantly and move occasionally, and our bodies are paying the bill. But distance is only part of the story. Because it's not just how far they walked, it's what that walking did to their bones. A study compared the leg bones of ancient hunter-gatherers to modern humans, including competitive cross-country runners. The ancient bones won. Researchers at Cambridge University, analyzing skeletons from prehistoric European populations, found tibial bone strength in those individuals that exceeded modern athletes by a significant margin. These weren't warriors or laborers selected for size. These were ordinary people, men, women, older adults. Their bones were simply the product of a lifetime of load-bearing movement on varied, uneven terrain. Here's why that matters. Bone density isn't fixed at birth. It responds to mechanical stress. The more you load your skeleton through movement, the denser and stronger it becomes. Ancient humans were essentially doing a full-body resistance workout every day just by existing. Uneven ground, load carrying, climbing, crouching. Every surface they moved across was a micro-training stimulus their skeletons responded to. Your bones, by contrast, move mostly on flat, predictable surfaces, pavement, carpet, treadmills. The stimulus is low, the density reflects it. Osteoporosis, almost non-existent in hunter-gatherer skeletal records, now affects over 200 million people worldwide. But here's where it gets interesting. Because stronger bones didn't come from better genetics. It came from something specific about how they moved, something modern humans have almost completely lost. You were born with 26 bones, 33 joints, and over 100 muscles in each foot. Most of them are barely doing anything right now. Ancient humans were either barefoot or wearing minimal foot coverings, thin leather, woven grass, nothing with arch support, cushioning, or a raised heel. And this forced something remarkable, a natural gait. Midfoot or forefoot striking, weight distributed evenly, toes spread on landing, the arch functioning as the spring-loaded shock absorber it was actually designed to be. Modern footwear, particularly the heavily cushioned, arch-supported, heel-elevated shoes most people wear daily, essentially puts your foot in a cast. The muscles atrophy from disuse. The arch gets passive support instead of building its own strength. The heel-raised design shifts your entire gait forward, loading your knees and lower back in ways that compound over decades. The result, plantar fasciitis, flat feet, chronic knee pain, and lower back issues, conditions so common we've normalized them, are largely absent from prehistoric skeletal and soft tissue records, and from populations today who still walk barefoot or minimally shod. Okay, We're 3 rounds in, and ancient humans are sweeping this. But hold on, because round 4 is where modern life fights back. Cavemen didn't have great posture. They had necessary posture. And that difference is everything. Here's what people get wrong about ancient human posture. They weren't walking around perfectly upright, like fitness models. They squatted constantly. They crouched over fires, over kills, over tools. They carried things on their heads and backs. They slept on the ground. Their spines were in constant, varied positions, loaded, unloaded, twisted, extended, throughout the day. That variation is the key. The human spine doesn't like staying still. It's designed for fluid, multi-directional loading. The intervertebral discs that cushion your vertebrae are avascular. They have no direct blood supply. They're fed by movement, by the compression and decompression that comes from changing positions. Sitting still for 8 hours starves them. Modern sedentary posture, specifically the 90-degree seated position most people hold for the majority of their waking hours, creates sustained compressive load on the lumbar spine, shortens hip flexors, weakens the posterior chain, and causes the forward head position that's now so common it has a name. Tech neck. Back pain is now the leading cause of disability globally. In hunter-gatherer populations, chronic back pain is rare to the point of being documented as an anomaly. And we've got one more round. This is the one I teased at the start. And it's the one that's going to reframe everything. Ancient humans rested a lot. More than you'd think. But it's what their rest looked like, compared to yours. And why the difference is wrecking your health. Hunter-gatherers, based on studies of modern analog groups like the Hadza and the Pivia, Kung-san, rested for significant portions of the day, estimated at 5 to 9 hours of low activity time. But that rest was active rest. Crouching, squatting, reclining on the ground, shifting position constantly, engaging in social grooming, craft work, light foraging. Their doing nothing still required postural muscle engagement. Your rest is different. Your rest is the couch, the car seat, the office chair, passive, supported, static. The kind of rest that switches off the postural muscles entirely and lets everything go slack. And when you go from 8 hours of sitting at work to 4 hours of sitting at home, you've spent 12 hours in a state your body was never designed to sustain. The term researchers use is active couch potato syndrome, the phenomenon where people who exercise for 30 to 60 minutes a day, but sit for the remaining 10 to 12 waking hours still show poor metabolic and musculoskeletal health markers. Exercise doesn't fully cancel out sustained sedentary time. Movement needs to be distributed across the day, the way ancient humans naturally did it. But before we crown a winner, here's the reversal that reframes everything. Ancient humans didn't move more because they were disciplined, or healthy-minded, or because they understood biomechanics. They moved more because their environment gave them no alternative. Every kilometer walked was a kilometer forced by survival. Every squat was a function, not a choice. Which means the real gap between them and you isn't willpower, it's environment. Your environment has been engineered, deliberately and profitably, to minimize the effort required for survival. The chair, the car, the elevator, the delivery app, every convenience is a movement that got subtracted from your day. Ancient humans were healthy movers not by choice. You have to choose it, which, if anything, makes the challenge harder, not easier. They never had to fight their environment to move. You do, every single day. Ancient humans win this comparison decisively, across every category. Stronger bones, more capable feet, healthier spines, better distributed movement throughout the day. But here's what that actually means for your life. Because this isn't a history lesson. It's a biology lesson. Wearing a history costume. Your body is running ancient software in a modern environment, and the mismatch is the problem. You don't need to walk 12 kilometers barefoot through a savanna. You need to interrupt the stillness. Walk to the meeting instead of calling it. Take the stairs obsessively. Stand while you take calls. Sit on the floor sometimes. Let your feet move on uneven ground. Carry things without a trolley. The goal isn't to be a caveman. The goal is to stop pretending your body evolved for a chair. Here's what I want you to do right now, not later, right now. Check your step count for today. Whatever that number is, drop it in the comments. No judgment, no competition, just data. Because I want to see exactly how far the average person watching this video actually walks. And I'll shout out the most honest answer in the next video. ND, if this one messed with your head a little, wait until you see what we found when we compared ancient human diets to yours, what they ate, how often they actually ate, and why the modern food environment would have killed them in under a week. That one's coming next. It's on screen right now.